back into that second row instead of James Ryan. Cian Healy in at loose head. So away we go. The URC table is bunched very, very tightly, so points a premium before, of course, the URC takes a break for 7 weeks for 2 matches in European competition and the Six Nations. It's a big night for both sides, Donald, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly is. And as you mentioned, given the fact that we have a break in URC for a couple of weeks, it's a huge game for so many teams. You mentioned how bunched it is, but the 6 points coming into today's game separated the teams in 4th and 11th. So a huge amount for everyone to play for. Regardless of what happens, Leinster will end up the day top of the table.
And they could open up a gap as much as 6 points. We could see Ulster potentially jump 4 places in the table from 8th to 4th. Difficult night for hookers and kickers and for those in the backfield position. Slippery, wet, greasy ball, as evidenced on the first up and under. That's knocked forward by Rob Ballacoon.
No, not the ideal start for Rob Ballacoon. The back threes will have fully anticipated to be tested early. Just took his eye off the ball. It was, of course, going to be slippy, but as a consequence of these conditions, we're going to have a huge amount of scrums, and that's going to have a big impact. 2 big front rows lining out tonight. You look at that all-international Ulster front row. Stephen Kitsoff at loosehead, a double World Cup winner with South Africa. Rob Herring, what an outstanding player he's been for Ireland, and Tom O'Toole for Ulster, number 3 in the pecking order, up against Cian Healy, Dan Sheehan and young Thomas Clarkson. 23 years of age. He's getting a lot of game time now with Tyke Furlong not been involved recently.
He's played in some huge matches already this season in these kind of conditions, coming off the bench away to La Rochelle in a brilliant display by Leinster in these conditions, which will stand him in good stead. Liam Turner back into the Leinster midfield for the first time in over a month, and there's another one of those unforced knock-ons, and we're going to get another look at this scrum early doors inside the opening 2.5 minutes or so. Good to see Will Connors back in the side, and certainly you speak about that La Rochelle game where his exploits and that chop tackling that gained him international recognition very early in his career were evident.
Yeah, he was outstanding against La Rochelle. Even the likes of big Will Skelton, he just chopped him every time. Josh van der Fleer, disappointed to be left out of that Leinster side. He responded, came back against Sale the following week with a player of the match performance. So that's the level of competition you have within Leinster. When you're handed the opportunity of starting a game, you have to make an impact. Plus, you just see Jacques Minaber with the glasses there behind Leo Cullen. Everybody wants to impress him. He's comes with such a pedigree from South Africa. So all the players looking to impress the new coach.
Interesting to keep an eye on that changing, evolving Leinster defensive setup as well. Interesting to hear Liam Turner talk about it pre-game. All the while, Frank Murphy was playing advantage.
Number 3 on the knee.
Yeah, statement scrum from Ulster there. Certainly the likes of Kitsoff up against, as I mentioned, Clarkson. Clarkson did really well in the opening scrum, locked it out perfectly, but I think Kitsoff said, young fella, you've a heavy night ahead of you, so certainly made an impact there. Just look at the power here of this Ulster front row.
Look where the mark is.
Clean strike, ball at the base at number 8, and then you see Clarkson just going to his knee, turning in, and a fella like Kitsoff doesn't need a second invitation. He's going to go for the rib cage at that stage.
83 caps for South Africa, 2-time World Cup winner, and really growing into his early career at Ulster. He was massive in the game against Racing, right across the park, both sides of the ball, explosive carries and big hits all around the park. Now Cooney looks to fire this Ulster backline for the first time this evening. Over the top it goes from Billy Burns and picked up by Timoney. He's got so much explosive pace and power, and Timoney's going for the line, and he gets there all the way in the wet conditions. What a break by the Ulster back row forward. Brilliant invention from the number 10, Billy Burns, the dink over the top, and we know all about Timoney and that pace he brings from his Sevens career. What a start this is for Ulster.
Yeah, outstanding start for Ulster. You know, pre-match we spoke about the line speed that Leinster bring in defence, but that comes at a cost, because if you can control the ball, there is space in that tunnel between the front line and the back line. We saw Sale do it early on here in the Investing Champions Cup game. That's exactly where the space is, and Timoney perfectly executed kick from Burns Timoney, as you mentioned, he has that sevens pace, and also look how wet the grass is. It enables him to slide over from 4 to 5 metres. The perfect start for Ulster.
Very little that Rob Russell could do coming across from his wing to try and shut down the space for Timoney. The bounce went his way, but didn't he take full advantage? That's a brilliant try from a player in try-scoring form. Up go the flags. John Cooney is metronomic from that kind of distance, and we've not yet played 6 minutes, and it's the visitors Ulster who lead Leinster at the RDS by 7 points to 0. Let's nip down pitch side to Murray Kinsella.
Well, we're already seeing the value of kicking on a day like this. John Cooney's first kick in this game was absolutely outstanding. He chokes off 60 metres with an exit. Then we saw Gibson Park go to the contested. It wasn't even a great kick, but a drop from Balcon. We've seen another one there, Connor. It is going to be a massive part of this game tonight.
Game management, putting your team in the right places in the pitch, and accuracy, discipline and handling, of course, all crucial. Prendergast, early setback for Leinster then. We would expect a rally and a riposte of some degree. Kitsoff can't quite get himself into position to jackal over the ball there. Leinster camp now 5 metres outside that Ulster 22, and the ball in the hands of Cian Healy. 270th Leinster appearance for him tonight. Prendergast offers it into the hands of Robbie Henshaw. Prendergast now skip out pass to this right hand side to Tommy O'Brien. Great to see him back in action. He's missed the last 5 or 6 weeks through injury. He was in scintillating form in the opening 3 or 4 rounds, helped himself to a try a game. It felt like Henshaw, short flat pass, and Henderson in with a big tackle right in the middle of the pitch. Good physicality from Ulster on their first real defensive set as Leinster go to double figures in terms of the phase count. Big collision that time between Herring and Clarkson.
Wait here.
Leinster going to the kicking game. Ulster have defended well, and that's swirling around. Lots of hang time on it. Great contest in the air. Fair contest too between Liam Turner and Will Addison, and the Ulster fullback did really well. Kitsoff, ball is loose and it's there for Cooney. Ulster have to scramble. It wasn't the perfect set, but they break from deep again. Brilliant invention from Ulster again now. McCluskey, he's going to require support, gets his hands free. He was looking for the offload, but all of a sudden Ulster have made 50 metres downfield. Cries of turnover penalty from the Leinster supporters over on that far side, but Leinster survive, and now Burns goes to the kicking game. Acres of space out on this side for Ulster, surely now in the shape of Stockdale, who canters into the line. What an explosive, unbelievable start to this game from Ulster. 2 tries in the space of 7.5 minutes, and again it's the short, varied kicking game of Billy Burns that pays dividends.
Yeah, it's been a masterclass at half-back from Ulster so far. Just those kicks creating so much difficulty. We see initially here the challenge in the air. Addison does really well there. A lot of injury problems for him over the last few years. Another beautiful strike in behind from Billy Burns. And Jacob Stockdale just couldn't believe his luck. Space opened up. Jamison Gibson Park, the closest Ulster player. You see Leinster again shooting out of the line. Tommy O'Brien, the space is in behind. And Ulster clearly have identified that. You know, something has to give. If you're rushing up to that degree as Leinster are in defence, the space has to be there somewhere. And Ulster clearly have a plan to exploit that, and couldn't have started better, could it?
Well, we've seen them a couple of times in the recent past. I think back to their most recent game here, actually, at the RDS, when they exploded into a 22 points to 3 lead after 34 minutes. Cian Healy was sent off in that game. They looked poised to win back-to-back games at the RDS and fell apart in the second half. But what a start this is. 40th try in Ulster colours for Jacob Stockdale, and he had all the time and space in the world. Even with the breezy conditions which are blowing from right to left, that's not going to come back. Well, I spoke about having a look at the Leinster defence. It's been breached, Murray Kinsella, twice inside the opening 10 minutes here.
Really impressed with how calm Ulster are with that kind of chaos coming from the Ninaber defence. That one initially comes from a set-up on a maul box kick. It gets a bit scrappy, but Ulster are calm. And then once they're in behind, Leinster try and put that pressure back on them, but Burns just slows things down and rolls that beautiful kick in behind. Really composed start, Connor. Really
composed start, taking their 2 tries brilliantly. Jacob Stockdale has been in really good form of late. Six Nations, of course, only around the corner.
First man on the
Leinster
ball
penalty
and on
here as they just look to get an access point into the game.
Yeah, and we spoke, pre-match about Ulster where they had big moments in games. It's a question of backing up those big moments. 12 points ahead. That's a cheap penalty to give away just immediately off the restart. You see Nick Timoney is just isolated there. Support Will Connors. What a brilliant turnover from him. Leinster, they just allowed Timoney go another yard. That separates him from his support, and Connors on his feet. Just getting that turnover.
Put it over.
Good take at line out, Timon. It's a case of where's the ball, and it's tucked under the right arm of Dan Sheehan. That's a brilliant try-saving tackle from John Cooney, of all people, a metre from his own try line. Sheehan looked poised to score, and Leinster might still get there, powering their way towards that Ulster try line.
On the line, Ulster.
All the big, heavy ball carriers in close attendance. Jenkins, McCarthy, Cian Healy, they're all there. Ball at the base. Ryan Baird has a go again. Ulster just trying to sandbag that line. Relentless attack from Leinster, and we've seen them so many times just fold around the corner, one out rugby, short passes, find that soft shoulder, win the battle of the inches, and get their way to the try line. Can Ulster hold out? You feel not. There is the Leinster try. They power their way over. It seemed almost inevitable, and the last man to get up from the floor is Cian Healy with his 31st Leinster try.
Oh, what an incredible performer Healy has been. You mentioned 270 appearances for Leinster tonight, 36 years of age, 120 caps for Ireland, a prolific try scorer as well. But that close in was only a matter of time. I think Leinster slightly lucky, two players shearing off, taking out defenders there, but Dan Sheehan held up short. The key here is just patience, and Cian Healy, he has massive power in the legs, gets in low and just uses that power with the aid, it has to be said, of I think Connors and Clarkson. Just burrows his way over the line. What a response by Leinster.
Yeah, nice bit of backseat driving from Will Connors there to power Cian Healy over. 9-3 at Thomond Park and St Stephen's night, and we were poised for something maybe a little bit attritional and similar tonight, but it's anything but. It's been a brilliant start from both sides.
Yeah, it has. We'd no right to expect tries in conditions like this, but we've had 3 already. We're only 12 minutes into the game, so it augurs well for the rest of the match. But again, it goes back to what I say, good moments from Ulster not being backed up, and that penalty conceded. Just the support for Timoney, too slow off the restart, and what a price they paid for that. 7 points on the scoreboard.
On the ball.
Keelan Doris hit hard in the tackle by Rob Herring and Tom O'Toole, that all-new Ulster front row this evening. Gibson Park to Prendergast. Under significant pressure. Good distance on the kick. Addison. Again, he's put to ground quickly, this time by Rob Russell, who's worked extremely hard on his defensive side of his game. Much to his credit, and it's paying dividends with a good run on the side.
Yeah, Will Connors creating havoc there again, just powering over the ball. Andy Farrell will be taking lots of notes this evening and across the Christmas period, all these interprovincial games, and certainly the recent performances of Will Connors won't have escaped his eye. That's better from Balakoon under the high ball.
Off the foot.
Kitsoff. Cooney there to find his captain Henshaw, but he's driven backwards. Can't make any progress beyond the gain line.
Use a 9.
Interesting to watch the Ulster kicking strategy this evening. A lot of short box kicks from Cooney against Connacht. They played a lot of rugby in their own half of the field. I'm not sure that worked out in their favour across the 80 minutes, albeit they did manage to see out the game and get the win by a single point. Jenkins. Prendergast has a little bit of a look to the left to see where the backfield coverage is. Backtracking well is Balakoon. Lots of counter-attack potential, of course, in that Ulster back three, as there always is. We've already seen Stockdale dotting down for 1 try this evening. That's a very, very good clearance kick.
Huge kick there from Prendergast. As we mentioned, hardly ideal conditions for a player 20 years of age, I think 21 in February, his first start in a big interpro. But, you know, he's always
Let's
been
form the line-outs, lads,
a
rather
very
than-
calm, calculated young man. Just see the rain there pouring down.
As you can see in that close-in camera shot, it's pouring straight down, which suggests there's not too much of a breeze at pitch level for the kickers to contend with, but handling conditions are terrible. Turned over by Ryan Baird. Good read and good leap at the front of the line.
Hold on.
Both these sides score a huge amount, a huge
Wait on,
percentage
sir.
of tries
Stand
off
still,
line out,
please.
so an important night for Sheehan and Herring.
Onside now.
Off and chase goes Frawley, and this is going to hang in the sky. It's a great chase, brilliant take. Wonderful catch from Kieran Frawley, dropping over his shoulders. That was really difficult against Will
Advantage,
Addison.
4
Taken on
offside.
by Joe
Never got
McCarthy.
back on.
Penalty advantage, says Frank Murphy.
On penalty advantage, Ulster.
Gibson Park to Doris, and now Prendergast just put the brakes on, and difficult one for Frawley to take.
Still on penalty advantage.
Still live for Leinster. Still options to the left-hand side. Jenkins gets it away. Taken on by Doris and turned over
No
then by
advantage.
Sean Raphael, but back we go for the penalty.
Just inside the 22.
What a brilliant take there by Kieran
Okay,
Frawley in
perfect.
that aerial
Now,
battle.
before you
I
went
mean,
early,
he's
you never got back on.
just proved an invaluable asset for Leinster. He's come in late today, Jimmy O'Brien crying
There you
off.
go.
And the kick
Let's
from
get back, lads,
Jemison
yeah.
Gibson Park, just brilliant hang time. Addison underneath it, but Frawley, a big man, competes well in the air. We've seen him play out half for Leinster. He played 12, 15 tonight. No matter where he plays, he makes an impact. I think he'd just be thrilled to be getting more game time than he's enjoyed for some time. That's what he needs.
Stay in the line, Ulster.
3 different fly halves in the last 3 games for Leinster. That's
Oh,
another good
let it
take.
over.
That line out time, and Leinster are so dangerous, so prolific, so difficult to stop from this kind of range. It's usually Dan Sheehan, but the last touch there belongs to Will Connors. What a start to the game he's had in that number 7 shirt. 2 tries apiece.
Yeah, and this line out, huge part of Leinster's play. Superb once they get that maul set up. You just see it here. Big take, Ryan Baird. Big impact when he came on in Thomond Park last week, and Will Connors just helped over the line. Normally it is Dan
Time
Sheehan
off.
is the one you
Okay.
see in the van there, but Connors says, not
Okay,
today,
Brian.
son. Gets his hands on the ball, and as you said, what a start to the game for him.
Just looking at something here, I feel Frank Murphy has indicated he's coming across to the big screen in the near corner of the pitch, and Brian
Okay, so you're looking at
McNeice
the initial setup.
wants to draw his attention to something.
Just checking something.
I wonder, is it...
So, Brian, you want me to check the setup, is it?
yeah, it could be the players
Where
on the
there's access to
ground.
the ball catcher.
Just
Yeah.
watch the 2 lifters. Have they gone ahead of Ryan Baird here? Yes, they have. That's
Okay,
going to
so
be
he's
pulled
clearly
back.
in behind,
Yes,
on the inside.
yes.
Joe McCarthy, isn't it?
Yeah.
So obstruction, no try,
So
penalty
this
out.
one going to
Yes.
be chalked
Okay.
off. Penalty to Ulster. We see so much of that,
No
particularly
try.
this season.
Obstruction.
Referees have got to be consistent, and Brian McNeice in that case
Number 3
quite
on the
right to draw
inside.
it to the attention of Frank Murphy.
Yeah, it was very clear
No
and
penalty.
obvious. Just Clarkson, the one who's picked out there, just for pivoting in behind Ryan Baird. You've got to
Obstruction.
give the opposition a fair chance
Front
of
lifter.
competing on the ground.
Backing you up. On or behind. Yeah.
That said, I'm sure Ulster have been warned just how devastating that Leinster maul can be if they get within 5 or 10 metres of their line.
Thanks, Brian.
Yeah, real shot across the bows. We know all about the Leinster power. We often see Ulster scoring
Number
tries
3
like
clearly in
this.
behind that time, lads.
Yeah, it is Clarkson.
5 call, Tom, is it? Thank you.
So a reprieve. But for how long for Ulster? Their first objective now is to try and win Rob Herring's throw under, coming under sustained
on,
pressure at the
backwards.
front of that Ulster line out. Ryan Baird, a real nuisance. And it brings the Leinster penalty. Ulster off their feet and sealing off the ball.
The difficulty
Good
for the
counter by
throwers,
Blue,
conditions
number 5
like
sealing
this,
the contest.
they're trying to keep the line out as simple as possible. Everybody aiming towards the front, and Ryan Baird gambles every time. That was intended for Treadwell, but I mentioned Baird, the impact he made in Thomond Park. A lot of that was in and around the line out. He's very athletic, easy to throw up in the air, and he's creating havoc at the moment for Ulster.
More.
Creating havoc again as he collects that Perfect delivery from Dan Sheehan. So the roles reversed, and now Leinster off and running the try line. Beckons for Dan Sheehan. Great tackle to stop him, just a metre shy, but for how long? Leinster go again, folding around the corner. Jamison Gibson Park slows everything down a little bit for Cian Healy. He's got the scent of blood in his nostrils already across the try line once this evening. And he's very, very close. Now, have they crossed the try line? Is that held up? Yeah, goal line dropout. Great defence. Nick Timoney in the thick of things.
It's held up. No, I have it held up.
Treadwell and O'Toole there too.
Yeah, Frank Murphy has seen it. I think Caelan Doris wants him to go upstairs. Again, it's a good initial setup here by Leinster, but they were held up over the line.
Ulster electing to try and roll the dice and go, and it may count against them as Henshaw collects the turnover ball, spilled forward just on the edge of the 22. That was risky from an Ulster point of view.
Yeah, that's not the type of thing you need to do on conditions like tonight. And, you know, again, exactly what we spoke about pre-match. Ulster lack of composure at various times during the game. They've sprinted into a 12-0 lead. All of a sudden, they've invited all the pressure back on themselves.
Let's go.
Well, this is what happened. Addison back inside, and then it's the...
Yeah, bottom line with those, Conor, they're great when they work, but you look pretty silly in conditions like this when they don't. Look at the position Leinster have now. An attacking scrum, bang on the 22-metre line. A big blind side, and Tommy O'Brien, the right winger, standing directly behind the scrum.
I want space. Okay? Understand? Yeah. All right, let's go. Show me the space.
The two front rows, and will Leinster try something down this short side? As you say, Tommy O'Brien, just that element of disguise, standing right in behind Caelan Doris at number 8. Jacob Stockdale will be watching his every movement. Bottom of your picture there in white for Ulster.
Crouch! Bind!
6 tries already in the URC this season in 8.5 matches for Jacob Stockdale. Is some going back to something like his best form, but it's Leinster here. All action. Prendergast, lovely little soft shallow pass into Henshaw. Gibson Park fires all those big ball carriers again. Caelan Doris, ball is loose. Frantic Ulster defence. Cian Healy started this game well in the opening quarter. Dan Sheehan, again, he just pumps those legs, changed the point of attack. Henderson had to try and live with him. Massive hit that time on Tommy O'Brien. Ulster in there over the ball. It's difficult for the Leinster scrum half. He's got to dig it out. Jenkins in close attendance. Don't play the scrum half was the call from Frank Murphy, but it seemed like Ulster might have done that. No whistle as yet, and Sheehan takes it on. Joe McCarthy again, straight over a Leinster player on the floor who was Tommy O'Brien.
Play on.
So hard to get clean possession.
Out you come.
Now it is a real dogfight. Massive collisions on the floor. Ulster going after that Leinster breakdown now. Sheehan from a standing start. Gibson Park, players losing their footing left, right and centre. Thomas Clarkson that time. The pitch cutting up as the evening goes on. Caelan Doris, shift to the feet, taken to ground by Treadwell. Here's Henshaw again. Patient approach from Leinster. Gibson Park is under a little bit of pressure. He's gone straight through the legs of one of the Ulster defenders. Back to his feet legally. And Leinster find themselves 10 metres shy of that Ulster try line again. 13 phases and counting. Great composure. Oh, a little bit of obstruction there potentially. Joe McCarthy in the way of Cian Healy. Frank Murphy, nothing doing. Play on. Jenkins goes in like a wrecking ball. Healy there again. Taken on by Joe McCarthy. Energy sapping defensive shift this from Ulster through 16 phases. And to their credit, not yet giving up their try line.
Advantage ruck was formed.
Almost inevitably penalty advantage, says Frank Murphy. So now Leinster can roll the dice with Gibson Park. Dinks one over the top, off the crossbar there for Prendergast. Lovely hands, O'Brien on the bounce. Brilliant try. Wonderful improvisation from Leinster off the kick that came back off the uprights. Lovely from Prendergast. And it's the arch poacher, the prolific try scorer, Rob Russell, that gets in for the try.
Yeah, and improvisation, exactly the word. Initially from Jamison Gibson Park, I don't know how he managed to burrow his way through 3 or 4 Ulster bodies, created that momentum, and obviously with penalty advantage, Stephen Kitsoff just couldn't. You just see Gibson Park burrowing his way through, keeps the ball alive. Kitsoff goes off his feet here. And just look at this, it could have gone anywhere. In fairness to Prendergast, he reacts well. Good pass, Tommy O'Brien. And Rob Russell, acres of space that Leinster will feel will make up for the one that was chalked off a couple of minutes ago. But improvisation from both half-backs, Gibson Park and Sam Prendergast. Big try.
Degree of difficulty is huge on this kick, but that's a lovely strike. Pure class from Sam Prendergast. 7-pointer for Leinster, and they take the lead.
Yeah, that kick from Prendergast just sums him up, really. Calmness personified, under pressure, just a flip pass. Again, wet nights, they certainly a help in terms of trying to slide in, but what a conversion from Sam Prendergast.
Well, look, there's always going to be a flurry of knock-ons and handling errors in conditions such as these, but 25 minutes into the game,
Use the 9.
we've been treated to some exhilarating tries, some lovely play, and a lot of patience on that last attack from Leinster. Composure. Addison underneath it, again under pressure, and the Ulster fullback has knocked that forward.
No advantage.
Yeah, certainly that Ulster back three, feeling the pressure from the kicking game built from Gibson Park and Sam Prendergast. Addison doesn't agree.
Off the head, he says. Human nutmeg, can we call that, from Jamison Gibson Park as he went straight through the legs of an Ulster player with ball in hand?
Well, he obviously must have released the ball because he wasn't called back.
Let's go, guys. Let's
Again,
take the scrum.
just good competition in the air. Rob Russell.
Listen to the user.
Pressure on Addison.
Some amount of sympathy for him. He certainly saw it differently to Frank Murphy.
It looked to me as if Russell knocked it back initially.
Set.
It's a big swing in terms of territory and possession in favour of Leinster. High 70s, 80%.
Yeah, big carry there from Doris. Channel 1 ball, get it in quickly.
Tommy O'Brien off in chase. Busy night so far for Will Addison and Balakoon and Stockdale all involved here. Ulster's back three scrambling.
No, Lee, it's a rock.
And they do survive and maintain possession.
Use it! Don't pull him!
Reffel wearing number 7 on that open side flank for Ulster this evening. John Cooney just needs to try and manoeuvre his team into a position of safety here. Clean exit. Gain some metres downfield, lift the siege of sorts. Stockdale's left boot certainly can do that.
That's a really good clearance kick from Stockdale. We know what a prolific left boot he had. Seems an age ago now since he burst on that Grand Slam Ireland winning side of 2018. As
let's go, Leinster.
Addison there just coming under pressure from Frawley. But Leinster, you know, from the moment that Ulster went into that 12-point lead, Leinster have taken over. All the game being played deep in that Ulster half of the field.
Sheehan mixing things up to good effect, working towards the tail on the tall figure of Jason Jenkins.
Yeah, that Leinster line-out has been far more productive than Ulster's.
That's flew to ground. One stop.
Sheehan into a lot of traffic. One stop, says Frank Murphy, and they'll try and get this back before Ulster get the turnover.
Yeah, that's much better from Ulster. Ian Henderson, you mentioned earlier on, very good form at the moment. Henderson, he's such a key figure in this Ulster setup. 79 Ireland caps.
Not used. Scrum white.
Certainly was outstanding in the game against Connacht just before Christmas.
He's been beset by injuries, and it's good to see him start for the 4th week in a row. Ulster need him.
Here's a mark.
Yeah, I think he needs game time as well. Consistency in terms of just putting back-to-back games together. Nobody has ever questioned his ability, even from, I remember him in his Ireland under 20 days. He was an outstanding prospect. Great player for Ulster and Ireland over the years. A double line as well.
Crouch! Bind!
So approaching the half-hour mark then.
Stay in the scrum.
Again, it's wheeling
Walking
around,
around
a
the
really
scrum.
good contest, this time right in front of Frank Murphy,
You're
I
outside
think, and
the
he's
scrum.
very clear Ulster penalty.
You're on the outside.
Yeah, just accusing
Need you to
Cian
stay
Healy.
square.
You got to stay square in that front row. Looks as if we might see another angle on it. Looked as if he wanted to get outside Tom O'Toole. O'Toole will be thrilled with that. Currently third in the pecking order for Ireland, tight heads behind Finlay Bealham and Tyke Furlong.
On the line, please, Leinster. On the line, please.
Yeah, you just see it there. Cian Healy is clearly outside. Just trying to manipulate the scrum around there.
Let's go, Ulster.
Not a picture that Frank Murphy likes. And the penalty has afforded Ulster a gain of ground of some 40 metres to the Leinster 10-metre line. Harry now to try and hit his targets. Great lead from Jenkins, and that's another line-out turnover. It's picked up here by Ryan Baird, and away he goes, using that acceleration and speed, that rangy stride and athleticism that he has.
Okay, you're out now, 12.
Covers the pitch effortlessly in seconds, it seems. Joe McCarthy.
Use it, 9. No. Stay here, please.
Gibson Park, all that experience he brings. Huge height and hang time on that, and then a collision between O'Brien and Stockdale as Jacob Stockdale looks set to try and get his hands on that. It is the Ulster ball.
No, Nick.
Stockdale goes in when there's no
Offside,
scrum half.
affected the ball.
Leinster caught offside. Ulster penalty again.
Yeah, Caelan Doris was never going to get away with that. He was never behind the hindmost foot.
Number 8, offside.
Captaining Leinster tonight for the first time in the debate. One thinks for potential Ireland captain in the future, whether he takes over from Johnny Sexton, Dan Sheehan in the picture. Obviously Peter O'Mahony, given his experience, but he hasn't played, I think, one game since the World Cup, so it'll be interesting to see what Andy Farrell decides to do, given that the Six Nations is only 6 weeks away.
He's achieved so much in his 74 appearances in a Leinster shirt, 36 times captain now by Ireland, but still in his mid-20s, Caelan Doris. As we heard from Liam Turner pre-game, when he speaks in the dressing room, Leinster players tend to listen. Herring gets Ulster moving through the hands from Cooney into Stockdale. John Cooney once again. Treadwell, shoulder to the pump, hit hard by Dan Sheehan. Tireless work ethic from the Leinster hooker. That Leinster defence driving Ulster back for now, at least. They're struggling to get any real purchase on the gain line, which is why Billy Burns is kicking. He's kicking extremely well tonight so far, out of hand.
Well, that's a super kick from Billy Burns under pressure. Only issue is that Leinster line-out is dominant at the moment. Just see the space in behind. Tommy O'Brien had to come up.
That's a marvellous kick, isn't it?
Numbers, please, Leinster. How many?
So a tester for Dan Sheehan.
Stay here.
Nice variation on the last one. Drilled in, well taken by McCarthy, and now Doris looks to gain an angle, gain a few precious metres.
Yeah, you look at that Leinster line-out, it just looks so much sharper than Ulster at the moment. Very well drilled. Everybody knowing exactly what they're doing.
No.
Gibson Park. Clear to good effect. Stockdale gets into the sky early under the challenge from O'Brien. Leinster ball on the near side.
Let's go.
Just a good clean setup. McCarthy at the front of the line-out, and big carry. Leinster able to clear their lines.
Not without their injury concerns across this Christmas period. Leinster, as most of the provinces are. Good to see Jameson Gibson Park fitting well enough to start tonight, having missed the game at Thomond Park, and that's come off the hand of Ryan Baird. Not straight in any case.
Yeah, just
Option in.
The first blemish for
Former line out.
Leinster. You just see it. It just skews off Dan Sheehan's hand. Nowhere near the centre of the tunnel. To be fair, up to this point, his throwing has been spot on, and Leinster have had 6 lineouts. I think he'd be reasonably happy, apart from possibly the first 10 minutes of the game, 12 minutes.
Let's nip down quickly to Murray Kinsella.
It's a really important few minutes here for Ulster just to be occupying Leinster territory. Prior to this, it was 85% territory for Leinster. Really smart use of their kicking game, counter-rucking as well to turn the ball over. And even if Ulster can't make it pay here, it actually pays to spend some time down in Leinster territory.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more. Just stop the bleeding really and spend some time in the rarefied air of the Leinster half of the field, which has been a little bit of a foreign territory to them for what seems like 15 or 20 minutes, but they've got a good points ratio per red zone entry, as we saw that against Connacht. Only 5 entries into the 22, still managed to win the game, scoring a couple of tries, a couple of penalties as well, so they could score here and turn the balance of this game 5 minutes before half-time. It would be a massive fill-up. We're so used to seeing Leinster score in what they call the championship minutes. Out the back from Clarkson, there's that kicking game again from Billy Burns, all on the points. Oh goodness me, that is absolutely class from Ulster, and Nick Timoney gets in for his 2nd try of the game, and it's brilliant, simply brilliant from Billy Burns.
Outstanding, as you said, from Burns, just having the I won't say confidence, but you know, not easy to execute a kick like that on a night like tonight. Knew exactly what he was doing. That Leinster defence just gets caught a little bit narrow. Luke Marshall, big carry from him, just for once, forward momentum, just a big assist there, even from Addison. Big Tom O'Toole just managing, and just putting Leinster on the back foot. But look at this kick here from Billy Burns. That is absolutely sublime. What a finish as well from Timoney.
It's that pace of Timoney as well, to loiter in those wide expanses with real intent, but Burns is under all kinds of pressure, and
he had to put the ball on a sixpence as well, Conor. There was very little space there, to be fair to Tommy O'Brien. Just a little patch of maybe 3 or 4 metres. He found it, and Timoney finished with a plum in the corner.
Well, 5 tries in his last 2.5 games and counting for Nick Timoney. He's in prolific form. Brilliant finish.
Ryan, do you have a time check?
Particularly at this time in the game. That's massive for Ulster. It'll feel like a snatch and grab, but they thoroughly deserved it given the orchestration of the kick from Billy Burns. Can Cooney followed again. He's trying to bring it in from the right hand side. Look at that for a kick from John Cooney. That is brilliantly judged, and the kicking kings for Ulster are paying dividends. Cooney and Billy Burns. Murray Kinsella.
What a game so far, Conor, given the conditions. We didn't expect this much excitement. Billy Burns has come under a little bit of pressure for his place with Jake Flannery's, I suppose, emergence this season, but his superpower has always been that kicking, the attacking kicking. I remember in Twickenham a few years ago, he dinked one over for Stockdale to score, and he's really come to the fore with those beautiful touches. Really clever play from the Ulster out half so far.
Absolutely, that has been the Leinster kryptonite so far. The Achilles heel of both sides at times is the difficulty in dealing with the ball, but it's so difficult.
Yeah, and once again we go back to, you remember when Ulster scored early on, they allowed Leinster back into the game by messing up off a restart. That's exactly what's happened here again. Just John Cooney, the ball getting trapped underneath one of his own players.
Owen, just make sure you don't step out left.
You know, with the clock 2 minutes to go to the break, that's exactly what Ulster didn't need.
Yes, as far as I know.
Find yourself under the pump for what feels like a good 15-20 minutes almost to go up the other end of the field and score a 7-pointer, and then a rudimentary error like that. It's a little bit of a coach killer.
Bind!
Or at least it will be if Leinster can score here. 19 points to 14, 90 seconds or thereabouts to half time. Doris digs it out from the base and away he goes, pumps those quads and runs straight down the 10 channel at Billy Burns. Gibson Park. McCarthy colliding with Stuart McCluskey. Seismic collision in midfield. Both players very upright.
Out now.
Tough night for Gibson Park. At the base, everything contested and contestable. Lots of physicality.
No.
Really good interpro so far. How will it be as they go into the sheds at half-time? Can Leinster battle back and hit the lead here?
Backwards.
Gibson Park recycles and goes. Clarkson, the tight head, takes it on. Hit hard by Matty Ray and brought to ground. 2 metres outside that Ulster 22. McCarthy, shoulder to the pump, taking on Sean Raffel, winning the collision, and therefore it's quick ball for Leinster. Ruck speed is good. The clear out from Froley even better again, and they work that short side. Back inside to Jenkins from Prendergast this time.
Stay.
Healy available and ready. Clarkson on his shoulder. Gibson Park.
Thank you.
Prendergast, will he delve into the box of tricks? Instead, it's more orthodox. Straight into Will Connors, the open side flanker. Froley now changes it up at first receiver. Good use of his playmaking abilities in that Leinster line, and Prendergast back inside to Baird again. So much impressive build-up play by Leinster now. Can they fashion extra numbers down this side? Doris dragged back in field. Clarkson again. Prendergast there on his shoulder.
No, look.
Getting closer, carry by carry, inch by inch. Ball is loose. Ball is played on the floor.
Can't play the ball on the
Ulster
ground.
penalty, won't get away with that, and that might just see Ulster to half-time with the lead.
Yeah, hugely
Lost
important
control
for
of the
Ulster
ball
that
and dragged it back in on the ground. Number
they
6.
saw that phase out. And
That's
you know,
time. We got
after
to
a
tap it
brilliant
obviously.
start, Leinster dominating the last 30 minutes, but that try from Timoney on the stroke of half-time really putting the Ulstermen in a good position here at the break.
Well, they raced into an unlikely lead if you think of it in those terms. Nick Timoney and Jacob Stockdale, 12 points to nil. Leinster hit back to lead 14-12, but a second try for Nick Timoney leaves it delicately poised at half-time. Leinster cruelly and adroitly exposed. 19 points to 14 at half-time. Ulster only 2 wins in their previous 21 visits here. Remember, can they fashion another one this evening? They put themselves in prime position.
Use it.
Fascinating and a vitally important second 40 minutes of URC action for both these sides before we take a 7-week break from URC action. Leinster top of the pile, they can't be replaced at the top of the table this evening. They're hoping to extend their advantage. It's a 1-point lead they have coming into tonight's game at the top of the table, looking to go 5 or 6 points clear, but not in that position as yet. As it stands, Ulster potentially on their way up the table and back into those all-important top 8 places. A long, long way to go in this second half.
Yeah, you can, because it's stuck, yes.
Breakdown has been a huge battle. Sean Raffel and Ian Henderson, Nick Timoney doing really well to slow down Leinster ball. Gibson Park. Froley again on his inside, tackled and scragged by Billy Burns. Lovely ball presentation. Long arm giving a scrum half every opportunity. Composed opening 40 minutes from Sam Prendergast, and 1 or 2 of those
they were inside.
Meteoric kicks downfield. Yeah. Brilliant.
Yeah, I think he's been really good in the opening half. He's played flat to the line. Distribution has been excellent, and look at this kick, how beautifully struck it is. Just such an easy action, but yet the ball just shoots 60 metres every time.
He has that lovely, languid, laconic style, but it certainly gets the job done.
If he formed the line out, I can look at the gap, lads. You're not forming the line out.
As we mentioned, just his 4th start in Leinster colours and his first in an interprovincial scenario, and he's taken to it extremely well. Line-out issues aplenty for Ulster in particular in that first half, and there's another one. It was cleaned by Henderson and then spilled forward off the shoulder of a Leinster player into Leinster arms, taken on by Clarkson. Jenkins. Henderson again with a tackle. That's lovely from Prendergast on the bounce, and it just skips forward into the hands of Will Addison, who's hit on the floor by Tommy O'Brien.
You're running into him, they're all back.
Ulster want to go quickly again. Cooney had the opportunity to get some good field position from the penalty, instead has kicked it straight down the middle. Prendergast will play.
Wait!
Froley, difficult one to take, the ball skidding off that turf. Addison, strong carry, strong tackle, good hit by Turner. Leinster piling in, trying to ruck straight over the top. Cooney has it.
Backwards.
Stockdale just left it behind him. Fortunate, maybe. No, he didn't leave it backwards. Touch judge on the near side disagrees with Frank Murphy.
Yeah, good communication there between the officials on cross, I think, just coming in to let Frank Murphy know. that it was a knock-on.
Here's the mark.
Let's go.
Thankfully the conditions just easing ever so slightly, but I'm sure it's very difficult down there. Will Addison, a lot of pressure. Liam Turner, as you mentioned, putting that's Tommy O'Brien, pressure there.
See it if you did. Yeah.
It's just the ball, when it hits the deck,
Fair
it can
call,
just
but we missed it, we missed
bounce
the time.
anywhere. A lot of the groundspeople out at half time just with the forks trying to get the surface water off the pitch, so it's holding up pretty well when you consider the conditions we've had in the last 10 days.
Let's go. Crouch!
5 tries already. We've had some really intriguing battles
Bind.
here at the RDS between these two sides in recent years. The most recent one, 38 points to 29 in Leinster's favour. Doris, good delivery to Prendergast, just delayed his pass, waiting for that wraparound run, the sweep from Rob Russell.
Tackle! Don't play. No!
Gibson Park, seen a lot of that this evening. Matty Ray that time testing the mettle of Frank Murphy. No penalty though there again for the Leinster scrum half. No way through for Ryan Baird on this occasion. A little deeper this time for Prendergast, pops one up into the sky and offers his chasers forward. Second or two's grace that time for Will Addison.
Ball
Deals with
in.
it comfortably.
Okay, don't.
Just the kick a little bit too deep there. Addison, plenty time to deal
You're
with
inside.
it.
Don't put anyone down.
He
Lead
too,
go.
a late withdrawal last week for the Connacht game in Belfast. Good to see him back in the side. Love to see him get a run of games, Will Addison. A little bit of shenanigans around the side of that ruck. Leinster supporters on that far side had a better view of it than we did. Scrappy ball, loose ball, hands from Henderson. And O'Toole now with an opportunity to get his legs moving. Huge amount of ball and play time in the early exchanges of this second half, which is good to see. And then it's loose and hacked forward by Gibson Park. Will Addison has to be switched on every single second. That's loose on the floor from the Ulster full-back. Gibson Park didn't really have a passing option. Kicks it through and covered by Stockdale.
Yeah, Gibson Park has been razor sharp around the breakdown, but that kick again just a little too deep.
Back a step, please. Yes.
Ulster just a little slow in supporting the ball carrier at the breakdown. Conditions like this, you have to get two bodies over, stay on your feet. But yeah, Gibson Park has been really good tonight. That kick just a little too deep.
Kaelan, please, you don't have
Wonderful
to fall
for a
back
player
that.
like Sam Prendergast to have the experience of Jamison Gibson Park on his inside and Robbie Henshaw outside him as well.
Well, to be fair to Leo Cullen over the years, I think he's put a huge amount of thought into his selections, in that you know, a young number 10 like that, to have the comfort of Gibson Park inside, Robbie Henshaw, as you say, outside, it just gives everyone a little bit of a comfort blanket.
Nice take that time from McCarthy. Better delivery from touch from Dan Sheehan. Lots of runners coming in on short angles there. That was Dan Sheehan. Again, it's the kicking option from Prendergast. They're trying to exploit this Ulster back three. They'll need to be a little bit more accurate than that, though.
Stay where you are. Yeah. No, the mark is there, Andy. Come on. Let's go, please. Yes.
So it's another big, booming, relieving kick for Ulster.
Yeah, I think the message at half-time for both teams is, and particularly for Ulster, is just try and control territory a little bit more. Ulster certainly come out second best on that front at half-time, and Johnny Bell and Dan McFarlane there, I'm sure, are looking for Ulster to try and drive Leinster back further in their own half of the field, force them into making mistakes.
Again, McCarthy is the option. Degree of security about that delivery to the front of the Leinster line-out. Ulster hand in there for a fraction of a second, and in the end, Frank Murphy agrees they've got rights on the ball. Turnover penalty.
Yeah, to Sean Raphael.
Multiple Ulster players on the ball lifting.
You can hear Frank Murphy there. Yeah, there's three. You had Kitsoff, Henderson and Raphael all chasing that turnover.
I think we chalked that one down to the open side. Good to see Sean Raffel get a run of games as well. First appearance since January in the game against Connacht in Belfast before Christmas, and here he is starting again. That's his stock and trade over the ball.
Yeah, it is. Came with a good reputation from Saracens. He is Irish qualified, but as you mentioned, having exploded onto the scene, I think it was 39 tackles in his first game against Munster. Injury intervening. He's had no chance since, and Tom Stewart looks as if he's getting ready to come. Leinster making the changes.
Cian Healy and Will Connors going off. Tom Stewart into the fray. So the bench is put into action 8 minutes into the second period with no change to the half-time scoreline. Gibson Park goes long and on, this time all the way down to that 10-metre line for Jacob Stockdale. Michael Alalatoa confirmed as coming in. Josh van der Fleer. Jack Boyle is in as well, so a couple of prop changes for Leinster. And as I said, one in the back row as well. Tom Stewart about to come in for Rob Herring. Good hands from Billy Burns. He had to be quick. Joe McCarthy running a hard line at him, and he's come off second best in that challenge. A little bit of a stinger for the Leinster second row. Should be able to run that off, shaking his left arm. Ulster patient with Cooney.
The ball is available.
Not a huge amount of distance on that.
Advantage. First knock on.
Knock on off an Ulster hand, and we will set for the scrum.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think we're seeing the South African influence here with Jacques Nienaber in terms of Leinster are going 6-2 on the bench for practically all their games recently. The other thing is the changes they're made earlier in the second half. Now we're only 47 minutes in, and already we see those changes in the front row. Nienaber there. He certainly believes in utilising the bench to the full, and big opportunity for Jack Boyle coming in at loose head. Rob Herring. Ulster in a brilliant position of having two outstanding hookers. Stewart probably the representing the future. Herring has been brilliant for Ulster for a long time now.
Set.
Down go the front rows, and Frank Murphy has seen enough of that to award a penalty to Ulster.
Straight down. Blue. Onto your knee, straight down.
Yeah, is it no, it is Michael Alalatoa on the tight head side up against Kitsoff. He was the one, just couldn't take the weight, went to ground, and slowly Ulster just getting a little grip territorially. Hugely important for them to try and get a return from this now. Kitsoff there growing into this Ulster side.
Open up.
2 World Cup medals in his pocket. Massive amount of experience. 83 caps for the Springboks.
Rob Balakoon has gone off for Ulster. He was having some attention just off camera a moment ago. Mike Lowry is in for Ulster, and there is that change. Tom Stewart for Rob Herring, and his first duties.
Yeah, but that's a very difficult throw to look to execute in these conditions, just coming straight in, trying to find the tail of the line out. And there is a swirling wind down there. The referee will sort of make some allowances for the conditions, but that one just way too crooked.
Okay, let's get the height right here, guys.
Interesting now to see if Ulster can maintain this pressure from the scrum with the changes that have been made.
Crouch! Bind! Okay.
Murphy will ask them to do it again, as you say. Good to see a young player like Jack Boyle, we've seen come through at under 20 level, get exposure to this kind of fixture.
Let's go, please. You're inside, by the way, Leinster.
Yeah, it is one of a whole host of promising 20s to come through the system in the last few years. Must be difficult though. You know, only 2 weeks ago I think he was playing for UCD in the All-Ireland League, which is great to see. The fact that these young lads go back and partake in club rugby here in Ireland. It's all about game time.
Bind!
Try a few weeks ago against the Scarlets in his first start in the first match of the season. That game away at Glasgow that went away from Leinster. Now the 2 front rows in a heap there. Leinster, it seemed,
Two
going
poor
forward.
pictures.
Kicked on that right-hand side, just shy of the 10-metre line. What are we, 12 minutes into the second half? Let's catch up with Murray Kinsella and see what he's made of it.
Well, I think Ulster will be
you
really
can get your
pleased with
feet
a
under you,
solid
you can have a
12
higher
minutes,
point.
some
That's
really
what I'm saying.
strong resistance in their own 22 to limit Leinster. Defensively from Leinster, it's really interesting to see the amount of counter-rucking that's going on. Again, you're talking about Ninaber's influence. They've really flooded some of those rucks. It's probably easier to do on a day like today when it's tougher to spread the ball to width, but they're getting some really good return on that counter-rucking effort.
Tom Stewart doesn't look best pleased. Thanks, Murray. He's
Stay bound.
perhaps trying to indicate to the referee that Leinster are closing the gap and trying to make life even more difficult for him, but he's found his target there. And away he goes now into open country. Good scrag tackle by Josh van der Fleer to stop him in his tracks, though Rafael now avoids a couple of big missiles. Alalatsoa, one of those in a Leinster shirt. And on come Ulster now. There's good dynamism about these carries, getting themselves over the gain line, which at times in the first half they struggled to do. Here they are on the doorstep with that Leinster 22 and coming forward with purpose now from Tom Stewart. Cooney, short pass, just pops one away, and O'Toole. There's a huge amount of activity around the sides of these breakdowns now, collisions everywhere. Players holding, Leinster offside, penalty. Billy Burns wants it and he'll kick again. Crossfield, Mikey Lowry's underneath this one. Can he stand up? A couple of Leinster defenders, gets it back inside, shot to nothing. Careers off Cooney, and Liam Turner will be called back.
Number 4,
penalty
offside.
advantage on the far side. It's an offside against Joe McCarthy, I think.
Number 4,
Billy
you're
Burns
offside.
nearly did it again, didn't he? Once again, pinpoint accuracy in terms of the kick. No, he was playing with a penalty advantage. Mike Lowry, dancing feet, just gets through one tackle, a brilliant cover tackle.
Number 4, offside.
From I think it was Rob Russell. Yeah, big carry here.
Time
this
off.
ball could have gone anywhere.
An injury here for Joe McCarthy, I think it is. As I said, he was feeling that right shoulder a few minutes ago. I thought he might just
where the ball
be
is
a
at.
stinger, but
It's a pretty decent kick.
Yeah, fairly hard to injure him, I'd say. Big,
Just wanna see
strong
if he's
young
right,
fella.
Noah.
Superb in Thomond Park the other day.
All okay, guys?
Thought he was going to be on the bench tonight, but
Right.
comes in for the
Let's
captain,
go.
James Ryan, and has been as
doing?
industrious, hard-working as ever. Put in a good shift, but this man is really directing operations, isn't he, behind the scrum for
You're having a
Ulster?
shot, yeah?
he
Okay,
really is
shots called now.
pulling the
Shot clock
strings
on,
on his
please.
return to the side.
Well, when you look at that, the halfbacks, we've seen a lot of chopping and changing in Ulster, but John Cooney and Billy Burns, they have that experience. Both, 11 caps for Cooney, 7 for Billy Burns. Just carrying that experience in is a massive help. Both have played a big part in this game tonight.
Dan McFarlane spoke at length pre-game about game management, maintaining composure and discipline and making the right decisions. So, having failed to get 5 or 7 from a sustained attack, the option of 3 seems like a wise one for Cooney. Particularly given the reliability of that right boot of Ulster's John Cooney. Even in these tricky conditions, he made that look very easy. And the first points of the second half, we waited 15 minutes to get them, go the way of Ulster, 22-14.
Yeah, right decision from Ulster to take that kick. We've seen them go in the corner at the more, before, but that pushing them 8 points ahead.
Prendergast gets us back underway, taken
They're
on
outside.
by
You're
Luke Marshall.
outside, 9.
No
Out.
James Hume this evening. Last time Ulster won here, he scored a
Taking that back in.
really important try. He's been in really good form too, just a few weeks out from the Six Nations, but a sense of reliability about the experience of Luke Marshall. Once again, Leinster good under the high ball with Froley, but Ulster even better over the ball, and the home support don't like it. But it is an Ulster penalty, says Frank Murphy.
Well, to be fair, I'm not sure if Rafael was on his feet there. Kieran Frawley does really well initially here, takes the pressure, good hit. Ian Henderson there with that hit. Now, is he supporting his body weight? There's no way.
Yeah. No surprise, the Leinster support watching that with the big screen away to our right-hand side, doubling down on their ire. You can't call it back now, and it's good field position again from an Ulster point of view.
They just got to make these entries count. At least they got the penalty last time here. Tom Stewart, apart from that loose throw, he's had a couple of carries already. McCarthy there just a little more vocal than we've seen of him in the past. Leinster lead him now.
Stewart, that's a really difficult one. Looked awkward even from the outset, and it ends up in the hands of a Leinster player, and it is Joe McCarthy. And then it finds its way back to Ian Henderson. This way and that, and maybe
ruck was formed.
There's a little bit of equilibrium there. The ruck was formed, says Frank Murphy. Leinster penalty.
Yeah, it was a combination there, I think, of Ryan Baird and Joe McCarthy. Baird initially, once again, just making a nuisance of himself in the air. He created that bobbling ball. Just watch it here. It is Ryan Baird again. Super
time off
competition out of him, and Joe McCarthy just extends those big long levers, plucks that ball out of the air. And that's a let-off for Leinster.
Those two have been excellent, haven't they? Ryan Baird and Joe McCarthy.
Well, they're just gambling on the opposition throw on the basis that more often than not, Ulster are throwing it to the front of the line-out, get bodies up. Just a worry here for Ulster now.
Good to go.
Henderson, thankfully, back in his feet, just seemed to jar his hip.
Back up quickly to his feet. That'll be a concern ongoing for both Henderson, Ulster and Dan McFarlane.
Yeah, but the game just hanging in the balance here now. Ulster, they've done really well in this second half to date. Must keep the pressure on. This is where they've fallen down in the past.
No knock on by
seen him brilliant on the Ulster ball. That didn't quite go to hand. Was it the lift or was it the throw? I'm not sure from Ryan Baird's point of view. Just slipping through his grasp and the ball slipping away from an Ulster hand, and we will go again to the scrum.
Yeah, becoming very difficult now for the players, even though, you know, it's that misty rain, it's very difficult to deal with. Henderson doesn't look happy.
It's been a great game so far, and it's been enjoyed by north of 16,000. 16,248 have braved the conditions.
And they've been rewarded, haven't they? 5 tries, both teams really going at it. You got to just dot your hat to them, because it's not easy in these conditions.
Just thinking as well from a Leinster point of view, they're usually so prolific. Often they put teams to the sword in this third quarter, and here we are, having turned around in arrears 1914, just that John Cooney penalty, finding themselves further behind 8 points. If Ulster can close out this third quarter, it'll ask big questions of this Leinster side as we head into the final 20.
Yeah, an important carry there from Timoney at the back of a retreating scrum.
Don't pull people down, please.
Much better from Leinster.
Leave him
go!
go!
A player who's in a rich vein of form, Nick Timoney. Seldom in anything else, but he's really come to the fore in the last 4 or 5 games. As I said, with those 5 tries in his last 3 games. Here's McCarthy again. Look at the power in that carry again, the dynamism. Gibson Park. Prendergast again, he has to be quick. Looking to vary the options and the distance on the kick. Good coverage, reliability from Mike Lowry. That's not the best of kicks from Will Addison. It's going to come back to him. Now, who can win the jumping battle to get a tap back on the Leinster side? Liam Turner did well. A little bit starved with ball, but he's influenced the game well there. Turner strong on his feet.
Wait on Star!
Prendergast retreats. Little angle to work with. Up and under is the option. Drifting infield. And he's off in chase. Cooney. Oh, was that forward or flat? Referee and, more importantly, Owen Cross, who was level with it down beneath us, said it was okay.
Either way, it was a bit of a hospital pass.
All right, back
O'Toole.
No, don't lift
no
the leg,
lack
Josh,
of graft and effort from Ulster's pack of forwards on a night like tonight. Gritty conditions. Cooney biding his time and charged down by McCarthy. Now Kenny thought he might fly kick it forward. Support on his shoulder inside from Baird. Leinster piling bodies forward. Van der Fleer gets it away to Alalatoa. 60 minutes on the watch, 22 points to 14, 8 points the margin in Henshaw. Crowd come alive, sensing something in the offing here for Leinster as Sheehan takes it into contest. Pile of numbers over on that short side, and Ulster falling foul of penalty advantage again. Kink through for Henshaw. Rafael covers back, Leinster penalty.
You allowed a counter. Slowing the ball.
Yeah, all that position just coming back to the work rate of Joe McCarthy, managing to block down the clearance kick.
Okay, he's there. When did this happen? On that charge line. Just back there. Okay, so we're now here. That play is gone. Please don't come to me in this situation.
Chan Cooney wasn't happy with where Joe McCarthy came from.
Yeah. Time off. Bring him on.
2 changes for either side, but we're looking at that charge on again from McCarthy.
Yeah, we'd have to see a wider angle to see exactly where Joe McCarthy comes from. Did really well to not only block it, but keep it alive.
There is the
shot's
where Leinster got the penalty. A couple of changes. Harry Byrne is going to come in and steer the ship from 10. Off goes Sam Prendergast, who's acquitted himself remarkably well in really tricky conditions tonight, but he leaves the field with his team behind. Jason Jenkins off as well.
Yeah, that's a decent 61 minutes from Prendergast.
So Ross Maloney in for Jason Jenkins, and he will be the target of this Leinster lineup. And here comes the drive and the heave and the shove and the flurry of bodies and all the power of that Leinster pack. And there is the try line, and there is the arm and the whistle from Frank Murphy, and they bundled and barged and burrowed their way over, and Leinster are right back in the heel of the hunt here, and it's Dan Sheehan with a try.
Yeah, how many times have we seen Sheehan do that? He's had a really big game again tonight, and carried well. But once Leinster get a sniff of anything within 7 or 8 metres of the line, that maul brilliantly executed. Ross Maloney just on the field, good setup. Immediately he hits the ground, Leinster are being propelled forward, just shears off towards the 5 metre line there. You see Dan Sheehan, Gibson Park going in to protect him. Only issue here is, can he stay in the field of play? No doubt about that. That's a hammer blow to Ulster, because they had done well in the second half up to this, but just one smell of a chance is all Leinster need. Dan Sheehan as ever, what a player.
They don't come any more difficult than this from Harry Byrne when you're just in off the bench cold. So Ross Maloney won the line out. Harry Byrne kicks the conversion. Massive 7 points. Let's go pitch side to Murray.
Yeah, I'm here with Ian Henderson. Obviously a 1 point game now. You've been in a really good position. What do you need to do to close this out?
Same thing it's been all night. Territory, minimise the handling errors and discipline. I'd say those are the three main things. I think whichever team wins that sort of the battle of those three stats over the next 17 minutes to win the game.
You've been able to do damage with that attacking kick again. Billy Byrne seems to have it on string.
Yeah, look, that's one of the best part of Billy's game in tonight like this. I think we've just tried to keep with, but like I said, handling errors and distance really let us down.
Thanks, Ian.
Cheers, man.
Great stuff, Murray. Good to hear the thoughts of Ian Henderson.
Stay here, push back.
Massive 7 points. Big intervention. Great kick from Harry Byrne. And look at that. That is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Just pinning Ulster back.
Super kick from Harry Byrne, just on the field, touchline conversion, and follows that up with that brilliant kick. Ryan Baird once again solid under those high balls.
Let's go, guys.
That's a super kick.
Let's go,
James Ryan due to be involved tonight, but a late withdrawal. One of a couple of late changes to the Leinster team rather. Joe McCarthy's had a big game in his absence. Alan O'Connor into the engine room for Ulster, rising high to take that.
One stop.
It's brilliantly poised, isn't it, for the last 15 minutes or so here. Could go either way.
Stay 17.
It's amazing. All the interpros have been so tight right up to the last 5 minutes of games.
Backwards, that's all backwards.
So many subplots, as I said, with the Six Nations around the corner as well. So many players putting their hands up for further
Okay, that's a
selection.
rock, no hands.
It's one of those games you feel from an Ulster point of view in particular, it could have a galvanising effect, because they've not managed yet this season really, after the opening 2 or 3 rounds, to string a set of results together.
Well, it would be seismic for them. I mean, they've only won here twice in 21 visits.
Nobody can put a name on it or a hand on it, more importantly. John Cooney trying to maintain his composure under real pressure from 2 or 3 Leinster players.
They just feel bench impact is going to be huge now. We see Ulster have introduced Big Dave Ewers, Andy Warwick, Alan O'Connor in as well. So
a couple of old dogs for the hard road tonight for the last 15 minutes. Dave Ewer's a good man to bring into these conditions with all his experience. 2-time Premiership winner at Exeter. Started a Heineken Cup final, was there for 13 years and more.
No.
Gibson Park goes long, looking for territorial gain and any little bit of a mistake in that Ulster backfield. Frawley.
Good man.
Straight down the middle. Stockdale will shape to get his left foot on it. And finding touch midway between that 10-metre line on the halfway.
yeah, he has a really good left boot, a great left-footed kicking option, and he wasn't taking any chances there. Again, the rain has just started to come down.
Let's go.
And that depends here now on Sheehan's accuracy. His throwing has been really good in very demanding conditions.
Leinster into a little bit of a huddle before this line-out.
Let's go, guys!
Keelan Doris goes off. Captain of the evening, replaced by Jack Conan. What a player to bring in his place.
One stop. Stay back, Jemison.
I thought Conan was really good in Thomond Park over the Christmas.
Same maul, same maul.
Now Gibson Park. Henderson. Stopped again by Timoney. And here's Joe McCarthy. 2 players to bring him to ground. Again, it's that kicking option from Jemison Gibson Park, and he's measured that to perfection, right down to a metre shy of the Ulster line and pinning the visitors into their own corner.
That's outstanding from Gibson Park. I thought he was excellent in that first half. Took a lot of responsibility off Sam Prendergast. Just that experience. Looked up, saw the space in behind, and that's a brilliant kick.
Lads, step back. Number 3. 2-man call.
Both sides slow to come in here. They cut numbers all the way in field. That's audacious and risk and reward stuff from Tom Stewart, but he finds Nick Timoney. A big call at this juncture in the game. But for now, it's paid off from an Ulster point of view. They can exit cleanly. Stockdale under massive pressure, and they're not going to get outside their 22.
Well, they favoured his left boot there, but Leinster just managed to put a lot of pressure on him. Just skewed off the outside of his boot. And we've seen how strong this Leinster lineout has been when they get a chance.
Number 3.
Not quite as close as they were when they got that try earlier on.
Ross Maloney now calling the Leinster line-out, and just before they assembled he was telling everyone to calm down. That's through the fingers of Ryan Baird this time. It's been a mixture of absolutely brilliant from Ryan Baird and 1 or 2 mistakes.
Still on knock-on advantage.
Ranges as to how many of those are explicitly his fault. Lots of moving parts to that Leinster line-out, which has been largely very good, as Donald has said time and again this evening. So same option. Ulster looking for more distance, maybe 5 metres if that, still camped inside their own 22. Big pressure moments.
Certainly is big pressure here from Ulster. You just see it's just a tiny bit over the top of his jump.
Time's off.
Timoney like a razor picking that up, but problem
I
is
just saw him with his boot.
Ulster just they can't get out of their 22 at the
No,
moment.
you're okay.
A touch of cramp for Billy Burns, which gives us a good opportunity to nip down pitch side once again and get the thoughts of Murray Kinsella.
It really is remarkable that Ulster lead this game, given that territorial dominance that Leinster have had. It's still at 75%, and normally that leads to good opportunities to score that Leinster take, but they haven't been able to take them. A little bit of inaccuracy on their own part, as we just saw a line out, but also the incredibly steadfast defence from Ulster in these positions so far. They've been able to limit what Leinster have done with that territorial dominance, but there's still a little bit of time to go here, Conor, and they've got to keep up that resistance.
Steadfast it has been for the lion's share of 70 minutes, but now it's a big 10 minutes. It's been an area of criticism levelled, perhaps justifiably, at this Ulster side, of staying in the hunt for the full 80 minutes. It's a tough thing to do at the RDS against this Leinster side, this Leinster bench, in these energy-sapping conditions. 1 point game to the visitors so far, but they're coming under sustained attack from a quality Leinster bench. Van der Fleer and Jack Conan, the latest 2 introductions, and lovely take to the line from Harry Byrne, put his body on the line there. Really seems to be a player coming back into his really best form. Joe McCarthy just ricocheting and pinballing off a couple of Ulster would-be defenders, using that physicality that he has. Russell using the feet, got to get him into so many good positions. Gibson Park, Joe McCarthy, always available, always willing to put his body on the line and work tirelessly for his team. Now then, is there a bonus point try in the offing here for Leinster? And more importantly, as we tick into 11 phases, can they recapture, seize the advantage, the lead, the initiative, and potentially all the points here? Conan driving hard, McCluskey resolute and upright in defence, and they go on again with Jack Boyle. A look to the right, a look to the left, options aplenty on both sides. Where's the ball? It's there for Gibson Park, and it's there for Conan. He can't quite get there. Numbers to the right hand side. Big tackle coming in again. John Cooney. Leinster reload again, and Conan takes it on. Relentless pressure. How long can Ulster possibly hold out? Turner wants it. Instead, it's over the top, and it's picked off by Marshall. Massive reprieve in the game for Ulster if they can see it out of harm's way here. Treadwell didn't have a great option. Leinster are in there. They don't get a decision from the referee. Anything now from Frank Murphy is huge in the game, but that's a big opportunity passed up by Leinster, and again, full credit that Ulster defence.
Well, just one loose pass seized on there. Now it's a question of, can Ulster clear their lines?
You look around that backfield deep inside that Ulster 22, so many Ulster players in particular blowing pretty hard. They're not sprinting to get back around the corner and make themselves available in positions. So much energy used up in defending their try line. Cooney, surely he'll take on responsibility himself, and he does, and even just out of harm's way into touch will do, and that's what he's done.
Yeah, that's a really good clearance kick under pressure, but the problem for Ulster is they can't just get Leinster out of their half. Just hanging on here, you just see loose pass, Harry Byrne here into contact.
And that's the gamble, looking for Frawley.
Yeah, it was just a speculative pass here by Gibson Park, looking for too much really. Luke Marshall, the ball was in the air way too long. He was able to pick that off.
Oh, that's tight. Anybody's ball, batted back on the Leinster side, knocked forward by Tom Stewart, knock-on advantage, kicked away by Rob Russell. He's put quite a distance on that. Mikey Lowry using his feet, great tackle. Russell, Ulster replacement, Scragg 5 metres from his own line. They want a penalty. It goes the way of Ulster. Leinster player with hands on the floor. Frank Murphy not impressed, nor too the lion's share of 16,000 inside the RDS.
Yeah, the Leinster supporters has seen it differently, but Frank Murphy spotted one of the Leinster players here. Jussie Lowry gets caught under pressure again. A brilliant chase here by Russell. Has to place the ball here. Yeah, somebody has their hands on the ball there. Is it? I think it's Jack Conan. Just comes through, doesn't support his weight. The Leinster
Time's off.
has to let off. Ulster hanging on by their toenails at the moment.
10 is
So
off,
Nathan
please.
Doak is in.
10.
Billy Burns is... Is
You're
Billy Burns
off,
going
Billy.
off? There's
Thank
some debate around who is the replacement. Or maybe they're just eating up a few seconds for everybody to get their breath back here.
Time on when he kicks it. Yeah.
No Jake Flannery in the matchday squad, as I've said this evening. And we've seen Ulster do this many times this season in terms of using Nathan Doak and John Cooney on the field at the same time.
Jack.
Doak, as you say, primarily a scrum half, but has played a lot of rugby in that number 10 shirt. Joe McCarthy, another incredible game out of him tonight.
Stay where you are. You come in. Thank you.
Andy Warwick also in. So big throw this for Tom Stewart inside the final 5 minutes. Greatly, brilliant take, Matty Ray, as they vary things up.
One stop.
Excellent delivery.
That's
Lots
white
of
to ground.
communication. Now who's taken that down? It's back on its feet. It was an Ulster player who
Yeah,
just
ball
lost his
broken away,
footing.
play on.
Ulster have to stay connected here.
Oh, see, now
Ball's gone
leave
to
it.
ground. Leinster player over
Leave
the
the
ball.
ball.
Referee seemed to indicate he's off his feet. In comes Doak.
Yeah, Van der Fleer doing
Leave it,
everything he
leave it.
can to put the pressure on. Doak.
No.
Time for cool heads. Difficult in the white heat of battle in such an important interpro.
And you just feel
Lose
if
it
Ulster can
nine.
hang on, what a statement victory it will be for them. But Leinster, as we know, they'll play right to the final whistle.
Huge height on that from Cooney. It was a great kick. That's a wonderful take from Rob
Tackle
Russell. He's had a
now.
good game.
He has done well,
Oh.
Russell.
Big contest, a game for it. Over the ball at breakdown time from Ulster. Which way is this going to go? It goes the wrong way for Leinster.
Yeah, Harry Byrne, he's done everything right since he's come on up to that point, but just got a little bit greedy, looked for too much from it, and the ball just bouncing end over end, so it's going to be an Ulster scrum. You can see what he was looking for. He was inside the
Here we are,
Ulster
Costa.
half, so he wasn't going to get a 50-22, but
Come on.
the wind carried that.
No,
It's
that's good.
a big moment in this game.
It certainly is. We're going to have a big scrum before that, though. Let's catch up with Murray.
Stressful moments now, Conor, for all parties. Really important strategic decision now for Ulster in what they tried to do off this
Let's go,
set
guys,
piece.
let's go.
And a really important and stressful few minutes for Frank Murphy as well, the ref in the middle of it. You can see him inspecting every single one of those breakdowns. No referee wants to be the one to make that call that has a big influence at the end of the game. So it's going to be tough on all sides. But for Ulster, they've got a chance now to manage this game, to use their kicking game probably, and get themselves into that Leinster 22 and try and close out the game there.
Set.
Yeah, it's a fair point. There's a high premium attached to every single decision that Frank Murphy gives in the next 3 minutes. No one wants this game to be decided by a controversial call from the officials. That's a really evenly contested scrum, and there is that kick through into the backfield. Frawley has to wait a long time to try and gather it, and as a result he's barreled into touch by Jacob Stockdale.
That's a brilliant kick by
Okay, oh, good, right?
young Doak into
they're
the
happy enough,
corner.
yeah.
You could see Kieran Frawley trying to keep it alive, hoping it was going to go dead, and Jacob Stockdale getting the reward for
good scrum.
that chase.
Good
Less than
contest
2
award.
minutes on the clock. It's Ulster's now to throw
go,
it away.
son.
They have a brilliant opportunity
Ulster,
to
let's go.
close this game out.
So across comes Andy Warwick to deliver the call to Tom Stewart. Luke McGrath is in for Jemison Gibson Park, but it's all about Ulster and how they manage the next minute or so. 90 seconds, great take at the back by Matty Ray, but Leinster get the penalty. That double banking at line-out time, consistency from Frank Murphy, and maybe, just maybe, Leinster not done yet.
Oh, how silly is that from Ulster? They had to get that absolutely right. They know the referees are looking at that. Leinster had a try chalked off in the first half of the exact same offence, and you can see who'd be a head coach. He's absolutely livid with that. Leinster weren't even competing in the air. I think a wry smile from Leo Cullen. He knows one more chance. They're still in the fight. But Ulster, if they go on to lose this game, they'll rue that moment.
Just a hint of a wry smile, wasn't it, from Leo Cullen. He knows the importance of the next 50 seconds or so. One last throw of the dice. Are we set to see what we witnessed down at the sports ground in Galway when Connacht seemed absolutely certain to get the win against Leinster, and somehow Leo Cullen's side pulled it out of the fire with that late Kieran Frawley try. They went through 4 or 5 brilliant phases and opened up the Connacht defence. They'll have to go from 60-70 metres here and then some. It's a big ask. Ball in play is huge. Josh van der Fleer will await the player of the match from Donal Lenihan. May have to wait to see who comes out on the winning side. It's absolutely in the fire, in the melting pot, in the balance, right to the final whistle. Spilled by McCarthy and picked up by Stewart. He dives on it. He's knocked it forward.
Knock on.
Oh, 2 seconds left.
I agree. Knock on the jackal.
I just see it here. Joe McCarthy, he's had another phenomenal game. 15 carries for Leinster. And was it Timoney there was looking to affect that? No, it was yours looking to affect that turnover. Falls out of his hand.
Knock on in the jackal.
Clock is in the red. Ulster within one play of a historic victory. Leinster, you never count them out, would you?
Never. It's a mark of champions. They can find a way. Odds massively against. 22 points to 21. Look at the clock. Half a dozen tries in what's been a brilliant contest from first whistle to last, and still we don't know where the points will go. It's pretty unsteady. Down go the front rows. Leinster reprieve of a penalty. One last roll of the dice.
Straight to floor.
Oh, this drama right to the end. 81 minutes. Ulster needed to not give away a penalty. That's 2 in a row now. And Leinster just eking their way out.
Harry Byrne, has he found touch?
I think it was out, was it?
There's the final whistle. Ulster have done it. There is no last chance for Leinster. The Ulster players celebrate an historic and rare win. Let's go quickly to Donal Lenihan for his BKT URC player of the match, please.
Yeah, look, it went right down to the edge. Obviously, again, Joe McCarthy, a big game for Leinster, but for me, Billy Burns was outstanding in that